Hey guys, welcome to another midweek preview. G'day, Gord.
Hey Matt, how you going?
Pretty well, thanks, mate. We're back at Canterbury tomorrow. Feels like it's been a while, but I suppose it hasn't really. What are you thinking? How the track's going to play?
We'll get rain on the day, or maybe tomorrow morning. So, look, I'm going to play it as not massive bias at the moment. I think it's always a slight advantage to be, in, but maybe not as dramatic as normal. But we'll see what the weather does tomorrow. 3 metre rail is one of the better positions there. So we'll see how we go. I think a lot of the times in these races where we're betting into tomorrow, I think some of the horses just might have superior ability and may be able to overcome bias anyway.
Okay, well let's start off with 1100 metre maiden. Mura leads the way at 360. Probably actually level picking with Dragonstone. Next picks is Authentic Jewel. No money for not too much money at all to start with, and I'll just bring up my map here. So just a solid tempo. Almighty Rising to lead. Mura and Celtic Harp kick up. Dragonstone couple of lengths back, and Authentic Jewel is just mapped to get back like it did previously. So have you got a bet to start with, Gord?
Oh, well, fantastic race, Matt. I think there's going to be some good quality horses coming out of this.
Okay.
Kind of a little bit disappointed, yet again that they're I would be looking at backing a few of these horses off their trials, but they happen to jump into the same race, which means I can't bet as aggressively as I would normally like to. But I mean, we're looking at like there's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, all look like horses that could have ability. But for me, I the one I'm going for, I am going to bet in the race. I'm going to back number 1, Mura. I think people might remember that I've been pretty keen on this horse its whole life, and it's actually kind of let me down, to be honest. But it was a strange preparation last prep. The 2 runs, a 6-week freshen up, and then another 3 runs. I mean, they were really, trying to get it to the Gold Coast there, and that's why I'm loving the nice long 20-week spell. And then the 2 trials, which I like coming into the second preparation, which is the 740 metre and the 1050. I really like that trial, that 1050 metre trial. Both of these are on slightly sticky stuff as well, both trials. So that's a good sign for what may be the conditions tomorrow. Authentic Jewel is in that same trial as Mura, and Authentic Jewel came at Mura, but I thought Mura had more up its sleeve. So I'm definitely leaning to it off the trials. And I'm going to back it. Yet again too. Like, I mean, I know it was sort of disappointing me because I backed it a few times last preparation, but it did get beaten by some decent horses. We're talking Ranch Hand, Tiger of Malay. You know what I mean? There's some decent cattle there, and none of these others have gone against horses like that. And I was suggesting going into those races that I thought Mura was better than them. Now it didn't race that well on those occasions, but it looks to me like it's come back a better horse. So I'm happy to back it. But look, there was a fair amount of style about the trial of number 3 Dragonstone. But yet again, there's a lot more question marks there with it being unraced. Look, the way it extended late was, when they extend like that, it means they've got a little bit of ability. And, I was going to back Celtic Harp last week, Matt, and I thought it was a better chance last week than it is on this occasion. But, it did have excuses. It's only ever race start, and the freshen up trial was nice. And, I'm never going to knock J Mac Barrier 1 at Canterbury on a Wednesday. That's pretty solid. And that's sort of in that price range where I could entertain it. But it's an awesome race, but I am just going to back one horse, which is Mura.
Okay, sounds good. Yep. I haven't got sort of too many notes from last prep, so not a race I'm going to play in. The unknowns on the first start of their second pick. So, it's a no for me. Race 2, though, is an interesting race. we are over 1100 meters again. This time for 2 and 3 year olds. The first race was just for 2-year-olds. So yeah, do you want to pronounce this one for me? Ibaraki.
Ibaraki I'll go for.
Ibaraki. So yeah, all the trial sort of guys that watch trials are sort of pretty keen on this horse from what I've heard. So there's been money for it against some race horses who haven't done too much. So anyway, it does lead the market. I think the tab put up $3, about 20 cents worth of deductions, or 18 cents maybe, but it's into $1.80 now, $1.65 in some joints. So the boys at Sportsbet obviously they've laid it, or they like it, so they're the lowest price just about, and obviously no money for any other horse. Yeah, look, Gordas, I don't need to say too much of the map. Was it a bit slow out in this trial? That's probably that's some sort of interest here. However, Matt Maker suggests maybe it can get one out, one back, which would obviously be very pleasing for those who are on it. But I guess there's some concern over the map. Matt Maker does. Matt Drawer says the 8 can lead. Was a man from Texel, and Ibaraki next in line, just a solid tempo. Yeah, Gord, are you going to just say absolute Monty, or are you going to disagree with any of the trial pervs? Because you are the king trial perv.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing is, Matt, its first trial, it actually jumped okay.
Okay, right, yeah.
So it missed the kick in its last trial, but I think that was just an off sort of day. You know what I mean? Like just wasn't 100% focused on that occasion. You don't like to see that taking short odds, but I don't care, mate. Yeah, they don't. Whoever you've been talking to, I totally agree with them. They don't trial better than this. What it did late was absolutely bloody sensational, and what I love about it is the fact that none of the others have any good figures as far as their racing is concerned, and none of the others have even trained anywhere near close to this horse.
Yeah.
This looks like a real stylish, good horse. It's going to be running in some better stuff. I'm loving the wide barrier, Matt. So this is a weird one, for me talking about Canterbury on a Wednesday, is that if it is slightly slow and it had to draw an inside, well, that could create problems because we could we could get into a traffic situation. This is the kind of horse where if it has the ability of, the guys you talk to in the trials and off my eye watching this trial, as long as this thing gets clear air, it's going to win. It's going to win easy. So I think it's a classy animal.
Yep, fair enough. And yeah, look, it's just one of those ones. If I were to guess which way the market goes, it's already firmed a lot. It's got so many wraps on it that it could start even shorter, which is that's my sort of view. Anyway, but
it's about the opposition that Matt, because
exactly based on the figures the others are showing, and based on the wraps on this horse, the money it looks at one way sort of go for me. It already has been, but it could keep going, sort of thing. Okay, well it's nice to get a simple race like that to put away. Race 3, 12.50 maiden, 3-year-olds and up. Lucky to Win's come out. Okay, so Silly Point is the favourite, just holding favouritism at $3. $3.50 you can get about all in this together. Baracello next pick for $80. Been some money for a couple of horses. Premisphere's been nibbled, and probably all in this together is the one who I'd say has had the other little nibble. Matt Drawer is going to tell us, that they've got, what do they have here? They've got Premisphere started to get a loosish sort of lead. Silly Point just to take a sit on it, a couple of lengths back. Zanaya, Baracello, all in this together, they get back a bit. So I guess you could say Matt favours to the 8 there, looking at the map. Gord?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure about how you can't be too confident about the map in this race. People might show a little bit more intent here.
Yep.
But look, easy one for me. Yet again, I think that, the race brigade are very weak.
Okay. Yep. I agree with that.
Kind of an easy race to me. I didn't see anything great about what Silly Point did down in Mexico. And to be honest, it trialled a little bit too hard for a Hawks trialer. And it only had the one trial over 900, and it's the 2-to-1 $3 favourite. I think because it's such a weak race, such a small field, and you got Hawks Berry there, I think that's probably why we're looking at this shortish price at the moment. But as far as trials are concerned, I'd be surprised if number 6 doesn't start favourite.
Okay.
Interesting one, that last trial now. It was trying a bit to sort of keep with them, in the middle stage of the trial, which I kind of like horses to keep with them really easy. But other than that, when it actually did extend late, it was really nice. Yet again, one that let down really nicely, like a good horse, and was powerful through the line. It's interesting, like that trial was over 1,050 meters, and I kind of forgive that sort of trying a little bit in that mid section of the trial, because it is starting its career over 1,250. I'd probably be slightly against it if it was actually starting its career over 1,100 meters. But the 1,250, I think, is going to be perfect for this horse. I think it'll actually be suited over longer distance later on in its preparation as well. But I mean, a little bit of ditto to previous races here. There is nothing here, man. If it does have the ability off my eye in the trial, and you can come from further back, which I suggest will be its position, I think this will take over late and win. You only need to look at 3 horses, which is 1 Barrichello. I mean, maybe you could forgive that Canterbury run. I mean, some people have suggested to me that, it didn't get all the space in the world. But look, to me, it got every chance to let down as good as it can. And there are other horses stronger through the line late. It's going to have a slight fitness edge on the first uppers, of course, which can be an advantage on sticky tracks. But I didn't see enough in that race to stamp this as a horse with any quality. But yet again, Waller, McDonald, Barrier 3. I'm not throwing it totally in the bin. And I've already talked about the trial of Silly Point. I mean, one of those 3 wins, but clearly for me the bet is number 6. All in this together. It's got what it's shown in the trials. It wins. It's not a Monty like the previous race, but I'm happy about 5-2 to take the punt in a very weak race.
Okay, that's a fair call. The next race over 11 is for 4-year-old mares. And we've got a pretty interesting runner. We've got a girlfriend of yours, and we've got maybe a long lost girlfriend of mine come to town, the out wide girl. Irish Angel is holding favoritism at $3.40 top price. Turnstile is you can get $3.20 out there. Gin and Bitters at $7 is the top price. Little nibbles here and there, but nothing major. Maybe Buck and Beauty, it's been nibbled a touch. It's now $14. Coalescent to lead in a fast tempo. Pelrone's a very fast horse. Buck and Beauty's a pretty fast horse. So there's plenty of speed on for the favourite Irish Angel, and they've actually got Gin and Bitters out the back, which is interesting. But,
it's got pace too. It pinged the lids in that Deegan trial.
Yeah, no, definitely raced on speed quite a lot. Let me just check my notes here. Yeah, I was done. It sort of drew wide, actually, a lot of its last campaign. But when it was drawn okay, it can go forward. But looking at the map, I don't know, maybe Connections will be taking a sit. But that'll be interesting. So anyway, Gord, Irish Angel appears to get the map suitable. Are you going to be on it?
No, I can't. I mean, you say suitable, but there's a chance, for it to find traffic problems from barrier 1.
Yeah.
And Cross, I've had enough of this horse, Matt. Fuck, how many times have I backed it? And it's got some good things, and I know it pulled off that win I think about the only time I didn't back it last preparation was at Kensington when it won. So
yeah, when you're probably on NAMJA or National.
Yeah. Maybe I saved on it. I can't remember. But it's got some good stuff. But with that slight sort of traffic issue and the price, and the fact that it's 17 starts for 2 wins, it scares me off taking a shortish price. But yeah, it's a scary horse. I don't want to invest too much money in this race because they're the kind of horses that I don't want to back and I don't want to take the price, but I also don't want to be against them. They're not favourites where I want to lay them. Because I mean, even Turnstile, like I think back to the 1100 off the trial, looks right to me, and Nash going on board isn't a problem either. But do I want to take that price off what was a pretty disappointing run last start? I know it's Saturday I was selling a Saturday Metropolitan race. Normally I give that a tick back to Wednesday, but this is a tricky little race with some decent horses, and it didn't finish past a horse. Right, so what am I going to do? I mean, I declared it at Warwick Farm, and I kind of figured like I've got my money out of this horse. But late preparation beyond Baker isn't a problem, and Nash going on, so lots of ticks there. Do I want to take 330? No, I don't. Do I want to bet against it? Not really. Even like I had half an interest in Miss Fox last start, and it's one that you can forget went around, to be honest. It was contacted a few times and never really got any space late. And we have a horse like Shadowcross come out and win on Saturday quite nicely. So maybe the form isn't too bad about it. So it can do something. And J Par goes on for T Clark, so I get a positive jockey change and I get blinkers going on. So it's a chance.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not penning Canada. Canada has some good stuff.
Right.
You probably know some of these horses, or they'll have a lot more information on them than I would. But some of those horses it was running against up in Queensland have some decent ability.
Definitely.
And the trial, wasn't sensational, but it looked like a stylish animal to me. I love the fact that they brought T Clark down, and this guy's a pretty tricky trainer, mate. He can get them going. So. Anyway, what are you saying? Because I've made cases for nearly every horse in the race. So
no, I'm honing in on Gin and Bitters for sure.
Oh, I like that.
Just target. Against these horses that a lot of them are control freaks, and they're not going to get control tomorrow and speed. So it just looks the right sort of race. Its first 2 runs in Saturday class in Doomben were sort of pretty good. Yeah, I like both the runs, and it just seems to fight. Carry on. Mate,
you got Patches, you got Niwon, you got Genzo the Wolf. You got some proper sort of horses there. And by the way, this has got form around horses that not just been running in Saturday stuff, they've been running in listed stuff. Like
they've moved to listed. Looks it's just found a nice midweek. Benchmark 72, 4-year-old mares. Like, it's not a good race. So, they've placed it well, and at the price at $7, I'd be gambling.
That's going to be the only bet for me too, mate. If you notice as well, there was a horse in that vegan try called Mass Destruction, which came second on Saturday in a listed race. And Gin and Bitters trialled better than it. So, I think. I think we're pretty much near on agreement, aren't we? There's sort of those little chinks about the others, although they're scary. So let's go for Ultimate DF. That it's like an absolute setup job.
Yep, exactly. And the Queensland sprinters have been doing a pretty good job when they come to Sydney. So let's go for it. Okay, race 5, 1100 meter, 72. Fast Coney. I think you were talking about a Monday show, I believe. Yeah. So, whoever it was Itchy Fingers. Oh, no. Well, I need to check what's going on here, but 280 tab doesn't look right, does it? But it's $2 everywhere, 220 in places. According to Dynamic Odds, the tab at 280. I'll just double check that. The easiest way. So anyway, it is Fast Coney is the favourite. Next pick is Stoical. It's 245 from El Coyote and Broken Arrows, who's first up. Let me just double check these prices before we move on. Canterbury race 5. Yeah, okay. So for whatever reason, the tab are top odds by a long way. Fast Coney. Is that what you're seeing, Gord?
Yeah,
Very rarely the tab 280. The next best. There's a lot of 220 out there, even 205 a sports bet. So it does look bizarre. But anyway, that's something to look at.
Well, it's definitely bizarre. I mean, normally that's bet 365, isn't it? Not
Yeah.
But, particularly now that 365 can't scrape.
Yeah, exactly. So that's I've got to say it's I thought it was wrong because when we do the midweek previews, the bookies never really have different odds. But that's very interesting. Punters worth having a look at. Average tempo early, Stoical can lead, Fast Coney pushes up with Invincible Lad, Broken Arrows and Zidane gets back. Obviously, like they have most of their careers. So race 5, Gord, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm going with it, mate. I haven't changed my mind here. Fast Coney wins this race.
Okay.
I actually like the back to 11. I'm loving the 60.5 down to 56.5. I'm loving the blinkers going on first time.
Yeah,
I think all its runs have had a little bit of quality. Late, this horse was beautiful late over the 1250. Now, people might say, oh, well, then why do you want it over 11? Sometimes I think going back in distance actually suits ping horses sometimes. And to be honest, I think they're going to show a little bit of intent here. Waller, when he goes from barrier 8 last start to barrier 3 here and then blinkers go on, I think a little bit of intent is going to be shown. So it'll be closer. Yeah. Racing New South Wales agrees with that. And it'll have a little bit too dash for these late because, yet again, I think this is a super weak race. I mean, Stoical got the job done at Hawkesbury, but I thought it got a pretty good run on that occasion. I don't have a big opinion of that Hawks horse, Miracle Street, that came second, or Pacific Ocean that came third. So, you got the job done at Hawkesbury, which is always a scary thing, even when you find the extra negatives as in the opposition wasn't very good. So, but happy to be against the second favourite. And then what are the rest of these, mate? I don't have good figures on any of these. So,
Yeah, well, the horse that lines up to me is Broken Arrows, who I think Pfeiffer's having a bit of a spell at the moment. So Matt Dunn has taken over training.
Yeah. Well, a spell, he got rubbed out for 6 months.
Yeah, that's a spell.
Yeah, that's a spell. God, you say things so nicely, Matt.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to say it 100% because I thought that's what happened, but I didn't want to get it wrong. But anyway, look, with a little bit of DF there, a new stable, Broken Arrows, and I think it's barrier 1, which also sort of interested me a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, Fast Coney looks the obvious. Blinkers and stable intent, and the jockey's going to be, what can you say? It's going to be a targeted type horse, no doubt. But if one were to upset it, I thought maybe Broken Arrows, so I might bracket them or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
By the way, I mean, I with certain jockeys, I tend to get a policy of like, I don't care in certain circumstances. I just back them whatever they on. And Reece Jones is getting very close to that claiming 3. Like for a guy who's a good jockey to be claiming. Well, Matt, like finding the good apprentices is just been a fill up for ever since I've been punting. It's been going on for me for 20 years.
Yeah.
Getting on your Dylan Gibbertsons early when they're claiming out in the country and stuff like that. That shit's been goldmine for decades. And
Bullocks.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's
a while now.
He doesn't claim, he rides them all over and still wins.
No, back
in the old days.
Back in the old days, wasn't it like a year ago or something? I don't know how long ago.
Ages ago. Yeah.
It was ages now. But fair call. Okay, well, Reece Jones, I'll be having something on as well. Let's go to the 6th race, and we've got Acrophobic again, holding favoritism 280, Canadian Spice 440, 460 Titanium Power. No real market moves. A spec on Dylan's Romance. It's now $16, but it was rough. Mr. Matt Drawer is going to suggest a solid tempo. His first note for the day, which is Canadian Spice, option to be ridden conservatively from the wide draw with good speed inside So it's good speed drawn to its inside. So Canadian Spicy saying maybe tries to posse up midfield. Wild Chap and Titanium Power will be the leaders. Acrophobic trying to push up and hold the fence. So a solid tempo for race 6, Gord.
Not confident in the map. Don't like the horses. Don't like the prices.
Yeah.
Please help, Matt. Have you got anything for me?
Well, I was a little bit, I think, I was against Canadian Spice last start, but it just had everything go its way. So initially I wanted to be against it again. Acrophobic has a set of blinkers on and all that sort of stuff, but there's no horse that's jumping off the page to me. 7-day backup for Titanium Power sort of maybe of interest to some, but this is I didn't like this race at all.
It's weird. It's like, Matt, I'm against the, Canadian Spice is taken up 20%, and I'm sort of, against it because it absolutely PR'd. And then I see Racing New South Wales map, and I thought, well, you'd be silly not to try and lead again. I mean, that's how you got the chocolates last start. In a dead set charity event that was. I totally agree with you there. And I got Acrophobic taken up over 30% of the market. So I got over 50% there with question marks about them, and then you go looking for something that might jump off the page at you, and I couldn't find it. So I'm taking 33.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, maybe Reece Jones pushing up, claiming he's 3, maybe something of interest with Wild Chap and possible leader. If it's a leader's day, that might be an angle, but
well, that was an all right run at Canberra there. It sat
worked
OSL,
hard.
I think.
It
worked
hard. The figures say it worked hard, so that was something that if the track was a bit on pace, I could maybe have something there, but I didn't like the look of that race at all. Let's have a look at the last. It's 1900 meter 72. So the Sir Agalov, it's $6 a field. You can get 7. Monsterrat at 7. Betty Blooms at $8.50. Nothing particularly. Some money for Tochi, I suppose. We've been waiting for it to get to 1900, or we always do. Someone else has been waiting as well. It's $15, nibbled a bit. Not a great deal of confidence from the punters. Lots of solid tempo. Monsterrat, Tochi, and Madam Charm can push up, according to Mapmaker. So Wicked's trapped wide with Betty Blooms. Don't know what to say about the map other than there's solid tempo throughout. So what can you do with race 7, Gord?
Not much yet again. If I do play in the race, I probably will bet in the race, but it's going to be very price orientated. These kind of races, I kind of like to find the leader, particularly because I don't think any of them have a great deal of dash. I'm against that price with that Sir Agalov down the bottom there. It's favourite. There's nothing map positive about it, and maybe it's got more upside, third start in Australia, et cetera, but it's not going to be a bet for me. So I'm sort of half interested. Half interested. I'm 100th interested. It's probably more apt. I just saw it down in weight, number 2 Montserrat. So it did run in the Gosford sort of Saturday Metropolitan Race 2 back, and then it went forward last start. On that occasion, it had 61.5. It's down 4 kilos off that. So maybe it's more likely to hold on with the lower weight on this occasion. So it's a horse of interest for me. Had enough of time, right? It's so wicked. I always sort of half entertain this horse at Canterbury because Dead Set loves this track, but I think it loves it when it gets to control, and it's not going to control. So it's one I looked for, but when I saw that it was very little chance of getting control, I decided to be against it. Where else are we going? Oh, Betty Blooms is an interesting horse, like a mare in very good form.
Yeah, fought back pretty well last start, but I guess going up in trip, I suppose, is a question mark. But against Acrophobic.
Well, it's definitely a question mark, but I mean, the fact that it sort of got headed and fought back sort of is a small indication that up in distance might be all right.
Yeah, been beaten narrowly. It's 1800, so you could argue it gets it. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus, I could talk about a few others, and then the one that's just probably just going to get the, it's got the best jockey in the world on it from Barrier 2. It's just going to do absolutely no work. Not a horse that I have a massive opinion of. With number 9, Rules Don't Apply, but it's just going to get absolute PR run here, and a horse that's got to win at the track this preparation. And if you're suggesting that 1900 meter run for a 1900 meter next start, so it's generally only used over 2400, but maybe, I mean, it comes out of that same race as well, but on that occasion, I mean, it's considerably down in weight as well. It's down 5.5, and it's Berry off the J-Mac on, and I know Berry's like flying at the moment, but J-Mac has a tendency to really just do some crazy, even if it's a good jockey to J-Mac, sometimes he just, for some reason or other, can get more out of horses, and it's going to do absolutely no work. It's a chance. It's around $10. Tochi, I don't care. It's up to 1900. I've had enough of this horse now, and Kathy O'Hara's on it, so no interest. There was an interesting one. Like you did mention that horse in the previous race that you might entertain have something on it. Was Wild Chat. Look, I'm not seeing any great figures from this number 14, Madam Charm, but you are T. Clark on a go forward horse, and maybe if Wild Chap wins the previous race, maybe that means you could be a little bit more aggressive, pricing Madam Charm. I mean, it is the lightly raced one that's only had 4 starts, and it's a proven winner, but I'm not seeing anything flash about it, Matt, as far as anything else to back up. It's a horse with a lot of upside. So I mean, interesting race. If I do, but I'll probably back 4 or 5 horses and just play bookie probably.
Yeah, okay. Look, I think you've identified a good roughie there. Rules Don't Apply. Getting James McDonald and dropping weight from the inside draw, that's gonna attract a lot of eyes. I wasn't as dismissive about Sir Agalov as you. I think Blinker's going on inside-ish sort of draw, dropping so much weight. Tommy Berry, I reckon it's D-Day for it. So I was happy to take $6. I thought that was okay. Maybe saving something on what you've said there. Rules Don't Apply. Looked of interest. You get those 2 jockeys. You back those 2 jockeys most races, and only Hughes can upset you really. Sort of Sydney racing, isn't it? They just like to share it around. But okay. Well, I think there's a couple of bets there on the card. Obviously, there's the first part of the card is dominated by trialers, and you're with them, which is good.
I can guarantee, Matt, if I'm not in profit after the first 5, I won't be winning on the day.
Fair enough. All right, mate. Yes. Okay, mate. Thank you.
Thanks,
and the boys will do a top-up show in the morning.
Cool, guys. Good luck. See you.
Okay. See you, mate.